High in the wooded hills of Israel, laborers are at work felling timber. It is a day of heavy, routine work for the woodcutters. Without warning, an iron axe head flies loose from its handle. It strikes the man working beside the woodcutter, and he drops where he stands. There was no hatred between them, no previous quarrel. A single swing of an ordinary tool caused a death that no one in the world had intended. By nightfall, the dead man's brother is on the road. As the avenger of blood, he is now tracking the woodcutter. This pursuer is a grieving man doing exactly what the laws of the ancient world allowed him to do. He is not a villain, he is a brother seeking what the era defined as justice. The woodcutter's only hope is to reach a specific kind of city, a place where the cycle of blood vengeance is legally required to stop. The book of Joshua has reached its final chapters. The conquest is over, the tribal portions are settled, and Joshua himself is now a gray-haired, elderly leader of a quiet land. At this moment of peace, God speaks to Joshua one last time. Designate the cities of refuge of which I spoke to you through Moses. The Malbim observes that the command was intentionally delayed. Israel was not bound to set these cities apart until the land was fully inherited and the work of dividing the territory was finished. The long campaign of seizing ground concluded with an act of giving. Joshua set aside 6 cities, held by no tribe, intended only for the safety of a fugitive. This raises a critical legal question. Who exactly is entitled to enter the gates of these 6 cities? The Malbim notes that the text uses 2 specific phrases to screen every applicant. The phrase, by accident, immediately bars the deliberate murderer from entering. The second phrase, without knowledge, excludes the man who intended to strike his fellow, even if he never intended for that blow to be fatal. When the woodcutter finally reaches the city, he stands at the stone threshold of the gate. He must speak his case aloud in the ears of the town's elders. If his story holds, they gather him into the city. When the avenger arrives at same gate, demanding the man's life, the elders refuse to hand him over. The city gate acts as a legal filter. It ensures the fugitive was truly without hatred toward the victim, turning a physical location into a mechanism for impartial justice. These cities were real places set into the physical terrain. West of the Jordan, they stood at Kadesh in the High Galilee, Shechem in the Central Highlands, and Hebron in the Judean hills. East of the river, the network included Betzer on the open plain, Ramot in the heights of Gilead, and Golan in the rolling country of the Bashan. Beyond these primary 6, the Malbim notes that 42 additional Levite cities were also required to take the fugitive in. This created 48 points of shelter woven throughout the entire land. The protection was universal. The law opened these gates to the Israelite and the stranger alike, guaranteeing the same road and the same shelter to anyone living in the land. To make this mercy functional, the roads were kept cleared and the city gates were left unbarred. Sanctuary was never just a legal theory. It was a physical path kept open for a runner who might come at any hour. The fugitive remains safe within these walls, but his exile is tied to a specific life. He cannot leave until the death of the high priest who was in office when he arrived. When that high priest eventually dies, the woodcutter's sentence is finished. He is legally cleared to walk out of the gate and return to his own house. The Malbim explains that this system could only exist once the land was secure. A nation can only afford to set aside these spaces of refuge when its own borders are finally whole. This required years of vigilance. Because the roads were kept clear and the gates remained unbarred, the woodcutter could spend his exile watching the hills, knowing his safety was a permanent priority of the state. These cities of appointment ensured that even in a land defined by conquest and tribal borders, a path remained open for the man who never meant to kill, eventually allowing him to take the long road home.